morning, everybody. Welcome in to a Christmas Eve edition to the PM and the AM show.
Yeah, Pat's making me work on Christmas Eve.
Well,
What a slave driver he is.
yes. And of course, you guys see it. My man Big Al's in the house. Al, hello, sir.
What's going on?
Well, usually I'm.
We're gonna pretty up this show somehow.
Yeah, well, listen, I usually sit next to Bronco Billy over here,
Yeah.
but you know what? He says he's sick. I know what the real story is. I'll give you guys a little bit of backstory. So Tuesday night was tossed out night at the Blue Oyster.
Oh God, where's my coffee? I got to point at it.
Yes,
it's not ready for this.
And it was we had reindeer games, and he got picked for Rudolph. He was on stage, and he didn't realize who the bouncer Randy was the going to play Santa, and he got Mike should be telling people on stage that he wears no underwear because they use him. Some use him as reindeer.
All right, coffee. I'm pointing at the coffee again.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Mike's not going to be the only sick one at the end.
Yeah. Listen, he went from a red nose, and his bottom was pretty red. I'll just put it that way. So he went from
welcome everybody on Instagram as well.
I forgot. Oh no. But anyway, let's get back into the realm of things. Good morning, everyone. Again, we are on the steps of a Christmas. So let's get right into it. Al, let's start out. We have. I think you've seen it while you cover the team. We have a real hockey team in town, a real one. I think up to this point, kind of told you what this team is. Are they real? Are they pretenders? Do they have a shot in the playoffs? Well, after Friday's game, being down 5-1, now you gotta take everything in X factor. They didn't have Carhart for 13 days. That's pretty much 2 weeks. Dylan Larkin just came back for the Red Wings. And again, one of the most productive players that they got. And you got to take and then of course they had a 4-game losing streak prior to that. So at some point, good morning, Joe Sullivan. Merry Christmas, buddy. So at some point, this team was going to snap out, and they did. And then they snapped out pretty good. They just went off the hinges. And so again, Patrick Kane is one of these guys in Philadelphia sports history that's always found venom to damage a Philadelphia sports team. I mean, if you want to talk the Cindy Crosby's of the world, the Jason Tatum's, Al, if you got somebody who stands out in your mind that always poisoned the Philadelphia sports team.
Put this way, Patrick Kane's been around long enough to poison almost any team in the NHL right now. Let's be honest.
I always go back to, of course, 2010 when he took the cup right here in Philadelphia, away from the Flyers. That's where it goes back to me. But anyway, nonetheless, again, he gets on the scoreboard for the Red Wings back to back, finding the back door on Carhart. And I gotta say, as much as I love the Carharts of the world, the defense in front of him was not good at all. Dear Corey, get together. We're on our way to replacing that
replicating that game in Detroit.
Yeah. Listen, Steve, I love you, brother, but again, look at that defense that was in front of him. It was trash. It was horrible. And then of course, Bobby Brink, here Joel Farabee. If my man was some deek moves on my man Oil Malata and of course Oil Mata did not have a good day at all. He gets deked by Joel Farabee at the blue line. He gets waffled by Guthrie. He gets hit by that Mack truck. He just laid him right out in the neutral zone. But again, Bobby Brink finds the back of the net, and then after that, it was just the Red Wings getting on the scoreboard consistently. Even that snot-nosed little punk Shane Gostisbehere got on the scoreboard. Made me sick. Good morning, guys. Pat, stop putting your fantasies on me. Hey, Mike.
Listen, Mike, if the fantasy is the only thing he lays on you, that's a good thing.
Yeah, pal. Wait till you experience some real pain.
Joey Sullivan saying best part about the Flyers team is they don't quit and they are good to watch for the first time in 3 to 4 years.
I agree.
First part, I disagree. Joe, this is probably the first time they're good to watch in almost a decade.
Let's
be honest with you. Yeah. A lot of times this team has been okay and maybe snuck into the 7th spot or something in the playoffs. We all knew where that was leading to. But this team has so much fight in them. We all came into this season, and I talked about this on the post-game show after that Detroit game, because I'll be honest with you, I wasn't supposed to cover it. Mike's not feeling well, hence why he's not here today. So hopefully,
Yeah,
Mike, quick recovery. Hopefully, you can enjoy your Christmas.
I got some NyQuil for him.
Oh God, Jesus. Insanio, good morning and Merry Christmas to you as well, and Dave as
Same.
well. Merry
Merry
Christmas to you.
Christmas,
Happy
Dave.
holiday. Um, and Steve said we had to skip the Hackstall years. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Um, so we all came into this season and just like, all right, as long as they develop a little bit, but we all kind of thought it was a tank year, right? We
Yes.
all we all thought like, and we I've been saying it for a while. Like, you don't have to tank in the NHL to get better. You had a really good draft last year. You can still have a good draft this year, but you could also take some talent and if you could parlay either this talent into becoming a big star in the team, or parlay them into a great trade that maybe normally they would have not picked you up much,
Yeah.
quality players with. Either way, it's you're heading in the right direction with this team. This is exactly what we wanted. This is probably happening a lot sooner than even Jonesy or Danny
Well,
Briere could have imagined. So I mean, everybody thought this team, like I said, was just going to be you
yeah.
know
That's why I named the show "The Right Tools" because I believe that again we've alluded to this for a couple of weeks now that the guys in the front office were the right tools for this team. I mean, really. I mean,
you
if
really
you
named this show right. Are we the right tools for you guys? And Merry
oh
Christmas, Mike.
well, then I got to be
All right, keep going.
okay. But anyway,
I feel like your mother. All right, Pat, stay on track here. I'm making this kindergarten teacher over here.
yes, yes. You know how many times I've been beaten with the ruler? But
If you do it
anyway,
to yourself, it doesn't count.
no, I enjoy the pain and agony. So anyway, when I look at this Flyers team, again, they battled back 5 straight goals, and I'll tell you what set the tone really was Nick Sealer. I mean, that penalty box became a revolving door. I mean, and Nick Sealer was dropping gloves just with anybody that was wearing red or black and white, in that matter, because he was ready to fight the referees. I mean, it was insane. But that's what kind of set the tone. Again, Bobby Brant gets on the scoreboard, and then Coots sets the tone. Gets on there, and then boom, it was it was a bunch of guys who got on there. Scott Loftons of the world, Catherine's of the world. Like they were finding the back of the net. And then towards the end of the game, Owen Tippett again shoots the puck, gets his own reflection, and finds the goal. And then Dylan Larkin gets
Deflection. He's not looking at himself in the mirror.
yes. Now you know how I feel, Al. Yes, yes. Yes. Bite into that apple, Mike, and just go right
Oh
in
my
that
God! Stop.
But anyway,
All right.
Look, this hockey team is really, really good. Like I said, what set the tone was the fight. Nick Sealer was really, like I said, really, really heated. Of course, after he wanted to fight the ref, my man gets told good at the back. And then, like I said, the Flyers brought a lot of offensive, lot of offensive pressure. Again, getting 5 goals. Owen Tippett gets, the goal. Dylan Larkin gets the goal. They go into overtime, and of course, Patrick Kane with some more venom shuts the door. And again, like you said, Al, this Flyers team doesn't go down without a fight. Now that's what we're getting. We're getting a real hockey team that's not willing
Nobody
to
told
go
him
to
that
sleep.
this was an off season or a past a mulligan season. Nobody told this Flyers team that. And Steve saying absolve Hart of all those first 5 goals. I don't know if I absolve him of all of them, but some of them were definitely a lot of puck luck. I mean, the first goal for the Flyers was a ton of puck luck.
Yeah.
A puck reflects off the back of behind the goal,
Yes.
comes
Well,
and deflects and falls behind and rolls down the goalie's back and scores. And that's what kept the game within a 5-1 for the Flyers. Put at least one goal on the board for them. But there was some like when he was sprawled out and he thought the puck was underneath him.
well,
I
look
don't
at
know
the
if you can blame.
defense. Look at the defense that was in front of him. It was horrible. I mean, it was. I mean, look, as much as we praise about the defense was lackluster. And look, Patrick Kane sniffed it out again. He was right
Twice in a row.
twice in a row, back to back, which set the tone for the Red Wings. The Flyers answered it, and after that second period was just nothing but the Red Wings. It's just getting on the board again. Like I said it a couple times already. The fighting, kind of got things going. The hit from Gathaway on the Malata just kind of really benefited. Kind of got the physicality for the Flyers get going, and then after that, once the Red Wings couldn't deal with the physicality, that's when the Flyers
Well,
took advantage and start lighting
you
up.
saw in that game, like, it did definitely take a turn at that point. Like, first part for those who weren't watching the game, because I would not blame you if you weren't,
Hmm.
if you turned it off after it's 5-1 because you're like, hey, it's Friday night, I could watch a Sixers game, I could do something else, and I don't blame you. And
Hmm.
but if you didn't turn it off, you would have witnessed, about, I wouldn't say halfway, but close to maybe a third of the way through the second period, and they're still down 5-1. Um, Sealer had a good hit on Fisher. Fisher came after him.
Hmm.
It looked like it was going to be two offsetting majors for fighting, right? Looked like 5 minutes
Yes.
apiece. Somehow, this ref thought it was a good idea to give Detroit 2 minutes and the major to Nick Sealer. When, I mean, if you watch it, Fisher looked like the aggressor in this situation. Um, and then when they made the call, Sealer comes out like a madman out of the penalty
Yes.
box.
Yes.
He looked like he was going to tear somebody's head off. And right following that, not too long, there was almost, I wouldn't call them back to back, but pretty close to back goals
Yeah.
from the Flyers. Made it 5-3. And you're like, okay, this is a new game. Can they do something in the third? And the third comes around, and then, oh, it's 5-4, 5-5, tied the game out. But then it was that, and then there's 6-5. It was that was Lawton, right?
That was Owen.
Oh,
Owen Tippett.
and Lawton was the tying one. And you're just like, oh, all right, this is 6-5, 3 minutes left in the game. Yeah, and I bring this up because of this comment here from Steve. The sixth goal was ridiculous, almost as bad as the Kane in 2010. And he's right. I mean, if you watch it, he shot from behind the net. That
Yeah.
puck came from behind, and the old saying is puck on net. Like, puck on net, something could happen. Like, either you
Yes.
get it or it deflects in the right way, and
Right. The
somebody else,
redirects, all
yeah,
that.
all that stuff. But it goes right between his pad and the pole, and I mean, just enough space to fit a puck.
Yes.
I mean, point blank. You can't. You had zero room for error, and it was just one of those things, and it tied the game up. Again, I don't know if I give a lot more credit to, I would have thought, to Torts. Because here's a guy you would have thought after the first period he's getting pulled, right? Everybody, I thought that.
Yes.
I'm like,
Yes.
I'm Urson or somebody's coming in to take over for Hart. But he kept him in there. I guess maybe in the beginning he's sitting there going, you know what? What's the worst can happen? We're going to lose at 5-1 anyway. But then it was 5-3. I'm like, all right. And then you could see this team. Everything was moving in the Flyers' way after the Steelers situation, and once they got a couple more goals and it was 5-3, you could see the panic from that Red Wing bench.
Yes.
You could
You
see
can.
that. Both goalies played amazing in the OT.
Yes.
Carter Hart, Urson needs to go in for shootouts right now until Carter Hart can get his stuff together.
Yeah, like I said, this is his first game in just about 2 weeks. I mean, again, like I said, and the defense in front of him didn't play well. But again, this Flyers, like you just said, Al, if you looked at this about a year ago, 2 years ago, this Flyers team had no chance of coming back after being down 5-1. Like you said, right away, the goalie would have been switched, pulled, all those other things would have came into play. But no, like, again, Torts kind of kept it cool and calm. And now we have like I said, this kind of tells me, even though they lost, it was in overtime, so they still get that important point. But this tells me about this hockey team that they're for real. And that they're, again, battling against, diversity, adversity, whatever.
Yeah,
Not diversity.
adversity.
Yeah, yeah.
Adversity.
Yeah, listen.
They're battling against diversity. We're
Yeah.
in trouble.
Yeah. No, listen, they're battling, they're fighting, they're battling against the boards, they're fighting, they're physical, they're playing, they're getting points, they're finding the back of the net. And that's the most important. They have good puck movements, and I get it. Like I said, this Red Wings team is kind of on a downslide right now. Of course, they lost last night to the Devils. Now they lose 5 out of 6 games. But you listen, Patrick Kane, again, is one of those guys, always has venom for the Flyers. So you got to put that in the back of your mind. Again, like Steve mentioned, about 2010. So, but however, like I said, there's still good
It's pretty
things.
crazy to think that that was one of the best runs we had
Yeah, and
And he was the guy.
and we're going now. It's going back to full circle with this team again. The Flyers are, I think, overall in the conference are number 6. I think now, Al, they're going to be a potential buyer.
It's possible. And real quick, speaking of buying, I want to bring this up to you guys because it is Christmas Eve. We've talked about this a lot, and I'm sure there's a few of you, if not a lot of you guys out there, who, oh damn, I forgot to get somebody a present. And the last thing you want to do is run to a mall or anything today on Christmas Eve to get it. Well, go to phillysportstrips.com. There is a ton of presents for you there, right at your fingertips. You don't have to leave the house. You don't have to wait for something to get delivered. You can just print out a little thing like this picture on the screen here, put it in the car, and say you're going with phillysportstrips.com to the Stadium Series in February 17th of 2024 to watch the Flyers take on the Devils. Or maybe if you want to get away with somebody and you're like, hey, you want to go to spring training, you want to go out to LA for Sixers games, you want to go out to the UK to watch the Phillies take on the Mets. You name it, they got it. There's plenty of Christmas presents at phillysportstrips.com. You don't have to leave your house for. Go get them now.
Now, listen, I listened to you and Joey this past Wednesday.
Okay.
You guys mentioned about possibly of a Johnny Hockey, just for fun of it, as Johnny Hockey was available.
There's been some.
Would you guys go after him?
Talking about it.
Now, is it A, he's on a bad team and he's playing bad, or is it B, he's not that great and we just got pumped up because he's the local kid and he looked good on the Calgary team?
I think he's a good player on a bad team. I think it more leans towards that. I mean, listen, we've talked about this. Like, how good could a quarterback be unless they have good wide receivers and running backs around them or a good O line? Yeah. How good could Joel Embiid be without the right bench pieces around him? You know what I mean? So if you're on a bad team, I don't care if you're Johnny Hockey or not, you're not going to shine like you should. Yes. And if you do, just power to you. But to go get Johnny Hockey right now, it would all depend on the compensation. Compensation is everything on the situation. Like I said, the teams see enough from some Flyers, young Flyers, who maybe before weren't on too many radars, and said, "Oh, I like this guy, I like that guy," and he's call him expendable, but he wasn't in your future, and it's Johnny Hockey, Johnny Gaudreau here. Let's get him on the team. So I would entertain it. But it really would all come down to compensation. Steve said I was in the middle of telling my son about the 11-5 comeback in 1988 in Detroit, and that 6th goal goes in. I guess it's not 1988. My son says.
Well, I was only 2 there, Steve.
And I know you can't switch the goalie in the shootout, though. I'm aware of that. I'm just saying.
Yeah. So again, I don't know. I would be like, I'm with you. I'm with the entertain. What's up, guys? I like the fight between Nick Siller and Christian Fisher. After a huge hit, that's how you get things done. Yeah, I agree with you, Joe. Good morning, Mitchie Poo. But yeah, I agree. I would definitely think about taking a shot with it. But then again, like I'm like most Flyers fans, you don't want to mess up the flow of the team. And does he add?
That seems to be the consensus right now. Steve says he's over Johnny Hockey.
You know what?
I'm saying that Flyers are better not be buyers. I'm only trading for a young guy or no older than 26 at a position of need. They don't have close to be ready in the minors or juniors. Will be a huge part for the future. And that's my thing is like, and that's how I look at it, Ryan. Like, if I'm going to move people in, if I'm going to do any adding, it would have to be somebody. It have to be somebody young. It would have to be somebody who I know could be here for at least another 6 years, 5 or 6 years, I should say.
But right now, like again, so it's weird to me. So the Flyers don't have anybody in top 50 in scoring points at all. Johnny Hockey.
Johnny Hockey, absolutely. Why not? It can't hurt.
It could possibly hurt, though, Dave.
It could hurt depending on if they sell the farm or if they do. Like I said, it's all about compensation and what it's going to cost to get them here. I'm not worried about the money compensation. It's just who are we giving up to get Johnny Hockey here?
Right.
Mitchie Poo is stuck with me, isn't it? Yeah, Mitch. It pretty much is, brother.
Yeah. Hey, listen.
Just
once Phil gave you that name, that was it. That's all it took for me.
Embrace.
So again,
Embrace the poo, Mitchie.
Yes, embrace the love of the poo. So right now look so so looking at Johnny Hockey's numbers right now, six goals and 16 assists, 22 points. He's really not lighting the light on fire over there. But still, again, if you could put him on a better team, surround him with better talent, the Flyers can bring you that. But like you said, what are you going to give up? I mean, are you going to give up draft picks? I'm okay with, but anything outside of that, no. Um,
Sean, you just called me Joe. It's Sean. Silly. Face green, smiling. I
uh,
don't. Did we call you? Sorry, I didn't mean to.
uh,
I think somebody is.
is this the Blue Oyster Party I
No,
wasn't looking?
I think Sean is taking in some Christmas Eve eggnog.
Yes,
A little,
yes.
a little early
We,
on.
it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Flyers have guys on the cusp of making it onto the NHL to play position Johnny Hockey plays. It will block and hinder guys' development. Yeah, that's another thing to look at too. You know, but again, with that being said, is if those guys are on the cusp of they're good young players, they're worth a lot. So
Yes.
it's all about like how much they're worth in that trade. So if you're giving them one of those guys up, and you got Johnny Hockey for a good long kind of time, doesn't suck to have him with Mitch Cobb and Cutter when they get here at one point. And
right, and because like I said, I listened to the program on Wednesday, and Joey was worried about if the Flyers were going to stay the core of being sellers, and Danny Briere made it perfectly clear. Depending on the season, what they're looking like would tell them if they're going to be buyers or sellers. And right now, they're looking like buyers. They're at six. They're the 6th seed in the East, so clearly they're going to make the playoffs. If all still goes well, if they're still playing red hot like this, if you're looking to contend with the Boston Bruins and the Rangers right now, you may consider bringing in some top quality talent. Do you still consider Johnny Hockey to still be that? But like I said, he doesn't have the scoring production, but he has the.
I'll tell you right now,
he has the assists.
I'll tell you right now, and that's what Ryan said. He's a pass first kind of guy.
Yeah.
Which isn't the worst thing in the world all the time, but for a guy who would be garnering a lot of cash to play here and garnering a lot of assets to play here, I don't know if that's what you're looking for. And
I don't know.
I just don't listen. I just don't think it's. I know you were big on when he was a free agent to get him here, but I honestly think that was the right move, not bringing him here, because it's all about timing now. It's all about timing. And what the Flyers have on their side, which most people don't, this is where you turn lemons into lemonade situation. When we were real bad, which wasn't that long ago, last year.
Which was August.
Yeah, August. The one thing you have on your side is time, because expectations are low. And then now you can take time to build, through your farm, bringing guys, whatever it is. And the Flyers, especially Briere and Jonesy, knew that. Hence why Mitch Cobb fell to us, because nobody wanted a guy that could take 3 years or so to get here. We knew we were a couple of years out before at least contending at all. I mean, nobody expected this. Not even these guys expected it. So it's this team. It's just Johnny Gaudreau right now would not. I don't know how much of a difference he would make. I mean, would he make a difference from selling jerseys? Yes. Would he make a difference from bringing energy to this team? Yes. But ultimately, we have that time on our side. Like that's
Yeah.
I'm not gonna start singing, but I'll tell you, like that's time is on our side.
Let me ask, do we really have time on our side? Only because now I feel like the expectations kind of change for the team. Because where we're sitting at, I think. So again, I think right now you kind of, and I think it's now pressure our eyes on everyone now. I feel like it's kind of pressure with Danny, with Keith, with Torts. You have to start shaping up this team. You have to start tightening things up a little bit more. Now, granted, when Mike was here in September or last September, he said he didn't want Johnny Hockey. I looked at him with spider eyes. Like I looked at him all crazy. But you know what?
You look at like that a lot, to be honest.
Yeah. Especially Monday, Tuesday through Friday and at the after hours. But anyway, but when it comes down thinking about it, again, name of the show, Perfect Tools. I don't know
if that's what they call us.
Yes, I'm a wrench. He's a screwdriver.
All right.
But listen, I think he might have been on to something, because I don't know if he could fit the torch system, and I don't know if he would. But now we're here, and now we're looking to be buyers. I know
Are
Matty
we
B.
though? Are we? Are we?
If they don't make a move buying, or would you be upset?
No. That's the beauty. I just said time is on our side. And what I mean by that is we don't have to make any moves at the break. I really don't think we do. I'm not sitting here saying this team is complete in any which way,
No.
but if unless there is a good piece that we can add that's going to, like I think Ryan said it a little earlier, younger guy who's going to be around for a while, who's going to bolster an area of need, fine. If you're going to find a guy or you're going to unload a guy who normally might not have gotten you much of anything, maybe a mid-tier draft pick who could get you a good draft pick and maybe a piece either for the farm system for the AHL or for to play off the bench, whatever it is, that's fine, and that's the beauty of it. Expectations aren't there. Expectations aren't there to, oh well, we're doing pretty good right now. We got to add. We got to put a big vet in here. We got to put this. No, we don't. We don't have to do
And
that.
I'm with you in the sense that I don't want one of the old vets. I think what made this team is what they are now is the fact that they don't really have that old veteran guy. Again, you look at the team, right? There's no JVR, there's no Kevin Hayes. They got Provy. Really, if you look at it, and what since what 16, 17 is Travis Konechny really your veteran guy? Well, I mean, you got the Mark Stoles and so forth. I mean, they really don't count. I mean, this is the Travis Konechny and Carter Hart team. This is what it's all been. When we looked at the Phillies, what 3, 4 years ago, 5, we looked at it was going to be Hoskins and Nola. Well, right now, it's always been to me Konechny and Hart. This is
Yeah, they were the untouchables, we called them.
yeah.
But at this point, nobody's
No,
untouchable.
no one's untouchable. So again, I don't know if you can move on from them. So,
Real quick, I
they
want to remind you guys, like I said, it is Christmas Eve, so Merry Christmas to all you guys from here, from Pat, myself, and the rest of us at Philly Sports. But like I said, as presents, you might have forgot one. You're driving there. Did you get your dad something? No, I thought you got that something. No, I don't know what the heck to get him. Go to Sherry'sTickets.com. If he's into sports, concerts, theater stuff, you name it, they got it. I don't care where you're at. You could find something at Sherry'sTickets.com anywhere in the country. Go to Sherry'sTickets.com. Sports, concerts, theater options, they have it. No hidden fees. The price you see on the screen is the price you're going to pay. And Pat, you can use that great promo code
EOP10.
That's right. EOP10 will save you 10% off at Sherry'sTickets.com. Already great prices at Sherry'sTickets.com. And save that 10% off with
EOP10.
EOP10 will save you 10% off at Sherry'sTickets.com.
Oh man, put some hair on my chest after I said that.
Hold on one second. So Ryan said, don't be a team full of dependent upon vets to run the team. We've seen enough trading for being a franchise run by vets since the early 90s. Vets are supposed to be there to contribute as well as help, as well as influence the locker room and be mentors to young guys, but not for the runs. I get the
I
runs,
got the runs.
who are running the team. I guess not the ones to be running the team. I guess only bringing vets when needed, but don't be forced to do it. Yeah, I don't think anybody's thinking that at all. Like just to throw a bunch of vets around and think we can make some sort of cup run here.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, if somebody like because hockey guys start so much younger. You know what I mean? It's such a different thing. So a 25-year-old could be considered a vet. I mean, look how young Carter Hart is.
Yes.
He's been in the league for 5 years. Like,
right.
And
then of course we had that mantle. No, it's sink or swim. Like who said it best? I think it was Boosh or somebody says hockey goaltenders kind of they as they get older, they get more better, right? Look at Brendan Moore, right? He was like in his 40s and he became this unstoppable force for the Devils. So again, well, listen, before we shift gears a little bit, of course, the Flyers get ready to go on that Northwest run, and of course, starting Thursday, they got to go against Vancouver, then go Seattle, Calgary, Edmonton, and then come back home against Columbus. So really, I mean, if you look at the stretch of games, other than Vancouver, they're all winnable. Usually, when they go on that West Coast run, I know. In hockey, it's different.
Yeah,
but I'm going based on paper.
Especially with this team, let's be honest. West Coast trips, they do okay. Western Canada trips, different story.
Yeah, I mean, it turns out to be a gauntlet.
Listen, man, that's why, again, I'm going to go back to this, what I said earlier. There's no expectations for this Flyers team, and I want to thank everybody for joining us this morning. I
Yes,
know it's
Merry Christmas,
Christmas
everyone.
Eve. Our people on Twitter are watching us right now as well as on Instagram Live.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
it's all there. Facebook, Twitter, you name it. YouTube, of course, and EOPsports.com. Guys, make sure if you're wherever you're at, subscribe, follow, share. Thank you all for supporting us. You guys have been the best Christmas present we could ask for. So thank you. That was cheesy. I'm sorry, but it's true.
It's all right. You want me to show you my
Uh,
Christmas present?
no,
Okay.
God, no. No, we'll get
It's
taken down.
tiny.
We'll
It's
get
only
taken
lasts for like 3
We'll
seconds.
get taken down. Oh, trust me.
Okay. Okay.
For many reasons. But it's just go in every game with zero expectation, and you'll have fun with them.
Yeah.
That's why I'm not going to sit there. I look at the schedule for purposes of
Looking down the Yellow Brick Road, you take it one game at a
for what
time.
we do. I got to look at the schedule, but I don't look at the schedule as a win-loss schedule like we do sometimes with other.
No, so like again for Flyers hockey, we'll resume after Christmas. The 28th, it gets back. Like I said, it is a good time though. Like I said this in the beginning of the year. Not to tap myself on the back, but I said I think this team was going to be sneaky good. I didn't realize it was going to be this good. I just figured because what we had in the front office and some of the old vets are not here no more. I thought this team was going to be a clear cut, young, play with no expectations, and what they're doing now. I thought they were going to take this by storm, and like I said, I thought they were going to hover around that 8 seed. Here they are, a little bit better than that. And like I said, everything is trending up for the Flyers again. Um, and they're playing like with all four lines clicking. Again, I thought Russell Lyon was some kind of stiff. No, Torres is getting the best out of his defense. Again, he's pretty much, if you don't fit his system, you don't really belong here. And we've heard the fights last year with the Kevin Hayeses and the Provies. They didn't belong here. So again, I think I think Torres has got the talent that he wants in play. Again, and that's why, he refuses to put a C on somebody. Like that old mantra is over with him. Again, one thing he said for sure, and he's done it. And of course, we've heard it time in and time out. Oh, they're going to change, expectations, all those intangibles, all those things, how everything was going to change. And no, he really stuck to his word. Again, he changed the culture. He changed the old school Broad Street bully mentality to what is hockey's supposed to be now. Talent, talent, skilled, talent, fast guys, who can shoot the puck, etc. Danny Barrera, Keith Jones being around the league. We've all heard the story. Danny Barrera, kind of, this is the first time being a general manager, but him being around the league a little bit, kind of scoping things out from, the Avalanches and the Montreal Canadiens, kind of working behind the scenes. Like the guy knows what he's looking at. And, and again, they've the perfect fit. So let's go into another team, Al, that's been the perfect fit. And let's get into this 10-9-8 76ers, Al. Al, again, they win back to back on Thursday and Friday. Again, just battling, and it looks like Embiid had a little bit of a knee problem going into Friday's game against the Raptors, and the day before Wednesday they faced against that Timberwolves team, who everyone thought, oh no, they got double trouble because they got Towns and Gobert, and nothing.
Yeah, I was at that game. That was just watching it. If you had any doubts about Embiid's game, I mean, a little bit was people are saying, well, this is kind of an easy stretch we had, in this November
Yes.
into December, especially the last couple of weeks. A lot of easier teams, outside of the one dropping the Bulls, they've been taking care of business as well. Getting them that third quarter off, which is just the best part of best way to load manage anybody, if you ask me.
Right.
But with that being said, is
Hey, how about this?
you
Yeah.
handled business well against, Cat, who tends to give you some those two
Yeah.
tend to battle out. We've seen the Instagram/Twitter wars with them over the past. And Rudy Gobert is supposed to be like one of the best defensive players, and you put 51 points up on him.
Yeah. And you took care of business. So again, that Monday they played against the Bulls, and the Bulls had them at arm's length, and they beat them. So, but that's what the kind of wake up call the Sixers needed. Like, okay, we're not playing against the bottom feeders anymore. We're not playing against the Washington Wizards or the Pistons anymore. We're playing against, that was the smack in the face that they needed. And Mitch brought a good point to it. Like, the Bulls look a lot better without Zach LaVine being in the lineup. Just to be, he put it right out there, and I couldn't agree more. So again, when they wanted to go face against this Twin Tower, Minnesota team, it was just like, oh no, here comes Minnesota, and Minnesota gave the Sixers a little bit of a run, but ultimately, no. Everyone forgets about that team chemistry, as I like to call them, Batman and Robin. Between Joel Embiid and Maxey. I mean, they are really good. Again, one can take it to the rim. The other one just hits that pull up and shoot kind of a deal. Joel Embiid sets the screen. The minute Tyrese Maxey gets that open look, it's money. Again, he's just shooting really, really well. Again, Maxey with no fear. Again, just he can run to the rim, dishes out. Again, his assist ratio has picked up really, really well.
Well, that's been a big thing for this team is ball movement, which was always kind of like get it to Joel, let him chuck it up there.
Mhm.
Which let's be honest, not always a bad thing. The guy on a bad night scores 35 points. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
on a slow night, not even a bad night, but on a slow night. Steve saying starting to look like load management had the opposite effect on JoJo over the years. Steve, I've been saying that for a while. Like that's why I'm saying it's good that if when they get up on the team, they let them take that fourth quarter off. I kind of make the joke, but it's truthful because we saw it in the playoffs. Like, they play the first couple games. And remember, in the playoffs, games are much more closer together.
Mhm.
They play a couple games, maybe 2, 3, 4 at most, and you could see the sluggishness start to kick in, especially in that second round.
Yeah.
Let's call it for what it is. Um, but we stroked about how great Joel was last year in his MVP year. Angry Ant, what's up, buddy? And he is even better this year.
Yeah, he again,
Like
this is
not even just like a little better, like much better.
so, you just point to, like, again, Embiid is just coasting through the NBA, with nobody really can guard him. And again, like, it's so funny, like, the national media, like, anytime, like, the Greek Freak or Towns gets, like, this big game, it's all like, "Oh my gosh," like, Embiid's been doing this for quite some time.
Yeah.
And like I said, his counterpartner who's ditching it out right now, who's become a better assist player, who's become a better 3-point shooter, who's become, fearless to the rim. Again, on the verge of getting to his first ever All-Star game. Again, this between the both of them, again, Batman Robin just take care of anything that comes through South Philly or even on the road. They are a really good counterpunch. And how about all the injuries that the Sixers are dealing with right now? No Nick Batum, no D'Anthony Milton. And again, the Sixers find ways to win. And speaking of one guy who we all like to bash him, Tobias Harris, my man, came up huge on Friday.
To put it this way, Joel Embiid's averaging 36.4 points in the last 20 games. That's almost 12 rebounds and 6 assists, which is a big number for him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's just that's just every day for him. Like that's the point.
Yeah.
Ryan saying trading for Murray, and if I'm the GM, I want him more than OG, but I'll take OG too, but more Murray. Have another guard beside Maxey. After that, yeah, having Melton come off the bench, I think would be huge because talk about upgrading your bench with what you already have.
Yeah. Well, that's and like I said, so before I go and talk about the bench, though, but we have to talk about a man that for quite some time, me, Sean Bernard, and Dies, we kind of, and my man Mitch, we kind of made the jokes about Tobias Harris, and Tobias Harris, he kind of took over Friday. He went off.
Hold on. I'm going to backtrack up here for a second. I'm not here to argue, but I'm going to argue for a minute. I know
Go ahead.
I'll argue with some family members later about who won what
Yes.
game back in high school. So let's talk about this for a second. I like Tobias Harris, but I know it's like I'm going to make a T-shirt. So I like Tobias Harris. On the back, it's going to say "but."
It's going to have a picture of a butt.
It's going to have a picture of a butt.
Mine.
Tobias Harris does this all the time, though. This is
Yes.
Tobias Harris's MO. Everybody's on Tobias Harris's ass again, right?
Yes.
He's not playing well. He's not contributing well. That in that Bulls loss, that was a big thing. Outside of Maxey and Embiid, nobody scored into the double digits. Tobias Harris, I think he had 6 points in 30 minutes of play or whatever it was.
Mhm.
So what happens? Everybody gets on top of Tobias Harris. They talk about trading Tobias for some piece in at the trade deadline or whatever it is. And Tobias Harris looks like a gosh darn superstar, man. Just looks like the best player on the court. And
Yes.
that's what he does.
Yes.
Like he waits to be beaten down. And that's my problem with Tobias Harris. Why does it take for you to suck,
Well,
for us to point out you suck, for you not to suck?
now with him playing it good, it gives us more in our mindsets to get rid of this guy.
Get him while he's hot. So
Get him right. I mean, again, 33 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists. I mean, he went off on Friday. It's a big portion why the 76ers
listen, it
won.
depends on who you're trading for too, because remember in the NBA, it's
Well,
money for money in that situation.
money for money. But again, the 76ers needed somebody to step up. Again, no D'Anthony Milton, no Nick Batum. Again, he rose to the occasion and he played very, very well. I mean, I think it's somebody from the team had a fat head of this guy. Who in the right mind wants a fat head of Tobias Harris? I can see the Embiids of the world or Maxey.
Listen, I think this team knows that they have to rally
or Franklin.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I think this team knows they have to rally around him to get him to play, to get him to play well, I should say. Because like I said again, it's just what he does. Like he goes down, he becomes kind of non-existent.
Yes.
And then when people start kind of dogging him, that's when he shows the dog in him.
Yes.
But then it's like back to the same thing again. It's like, it's like a wife who has to tell a husband, you're not helping out around the house. She dogs you and dogs you. You finally help out for about 2 weeks, and then you decide I'm gonna go back to the way it is. Well,
that's me.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking at you while saying the whole time.
Yeah.
But my point is, it's not what consistency is key in sports.
Yes.
We always say the best ability is availability. Well,
Yes.
consistency is pretty. That's what consistency is: being available all the time. But you can't, I'm not sitting there saying Tobias Harris has to play up to what his contract says he is. That's one problem I've had with people all these years. That's why I always kind of defended Tobias Harris. Like he is. If your boss came to you and said, "Pat, I'm going to pay you $150 an hour to do your job,"
right?
When anybody else could do, like other people could do your job for a lot less, right?
And better.
But you're going to take it, right?
Exactly.
So I can't blame Tobias Harris for taking the money.
Right.
I can only blame the person who gave him the money
for
doing that. So that, in your case, would be your boss's fault.
Exactly.
So take heed on that one. But at the same time, he should be able to play a more consistent game, and that's what he does. Like he falls off, and you're not like the moment he finds it. You listen, fine, go to the All-Star game or whatever it is.
If that's going to make your day, have at it.
But you're not going to do it being inconsistent.
No, you're not going to get there. Again, he has these stretches. He looks good. He's like the Flyers in October usually. He looks good in October. Takes a break. Shows up when when we need him to. Takes a break. This is Tobias Harris in a nutshell. He has these stretches where he looks good, then he looks bad. He looks good. This is who he is. Again, I've said it. He's been the X factor to this team. Again, when Maxey and Joel need someone to step up, he's there. But when they need him to step up even more, he's not there. It's weird. So again, like I've heard. And I know my man Dies, who's like the biggest fan of the guy. He said he's like an 8th option on this team right now, and which he is. I mean, you go to Nick Batum, you could go to D'Anthony Milton, you could go to Covington, you could go to.
Well, I don't know if I'm going to go to Covington over.
No. But I mean, as far as defense, you could go to Patrick Beverly for defense for having that dogfight him. You could get Kelly Oubre. You have so many other options. Oh boy, here we go.
Tobias Harris like a woman on a rag, or wants to have. Once out of a relationship, always miserable, but time to time shows a smile and does something good. Who hurt you, Ed? Who hurt you?
Oh, here we go. And I hope this ain't from like your date like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I know. That's exactly what it sounds like. No, but I know what he's saying. He's like, it's the inconsistency. In as human beings, we strive. Consistency is king for us.
Yes.
And he is the key of inconsistency. And like I said, it always just seems to be when trade rumors come out or other players are out playing him, and then he decides to wake up.
Well, here goes another problem I have. Again, that's fine. You have problems with Tobias Harris, that's fine. But let's take a look at another issue on this team.
Oh boy,
Oh, here we go.
I love them. I love.
Yeah, I love Angry Ant.
Again, guys, everybody who's joining us, thank you. The new
I,
Instagram
I, I will.
views,
Yes.
Twitter, and all that stuff. Thank you, guys. We love you. Merry Christmas. Hope you guys are having a good time today, and hopefully, we're going to send you into your Christmas Eve because you're going to have us, and then in a little while, right behind us, all across all the time, we'll be coming out, and then I'll be releasing the schedule for next week. Tuesday, pretty much Tuesday through the rest of the week. Tomorrow, we're going to let people take a break. It is Christmas and all.
No, we're not.
Well,
No,
you
we
know what
got
I mean.
post game shows
You
to
know,
do.
you know what I mean.
We have Christmas chaos. But anyway, and speaking of, again, if you guys want to point the fingers, right? We want to point the fingers at some. How about the major gray area of the Sixer team in back-to-back games has been this bench. Covey had 24 minutes and gave you nothing. Uh, there's some there's some gloomy points about this team and about this bench that needs to start stepping up. Again, this is like one of the weakness points. I love my man B-Ball Paul, and again, he gets boards and all those fun things. But again, we need some shooting coming off the bench. That's why when people want to rush about putting Tobias Harris off the bench and give me Kelly Oubre, and then listen, that might bring the dogfight out of him. But again, to me, I need that mismatch coming off the bench. And right now, Kelly Oubre hasn't looked all that great. Again, he gets some boards, but again, only 8 points on Friday, 26 minutes. I mean, come on, that's only really 4 buckets. Let's be honest here. We need some more productive coming from these guys, and we're not getting it. So this is what these bad teams, the Raptors of the world, are hanging around with the Sixers because when Joel Embiid and Maxey needs to take a break, the bench kind of comes over and flops it for them. So again, if anything, the bench really needs to start tighten things down.
Well, I mean that's been always a problem for the Sixers as of recently. This is the deepest team we've seen in a while, and
Yes.
I think that's why I'm saying when you go for the trade deadline, maybe you don't need a superstar. Maybe you get a guy like Tobias who can parlay a couple key bench players into it, and whatever it is. Like when you're like you said, when he's the eighth option off the you know off the bench, then or eighth option on the team, like I don't know. It's
I
a
don't know.
contract year. I know some people just say let him cook until
Right.
until he's done this year. But I would have to see more and more consistency
But
from him.
yeah, exactly. So, but anyway, Mike, wow,
I've been
Al,
called many things in my life, sir.
but that's the most insulting one
Yeah,
so far.
it's actually my middle name, so I can let it
Oh,
slide.
really?
Yeah.
But listen, Al, we have a Christmas chaos, 8 o'clock tonight. Sixers, Heat.
Tomorrow night.
I'm sorry, I'm so excited. Tomorrow night.
He's so excited for Santa Claus.
Oh, coming down and whipping out a sack. But anyway, Al, we get Sixers and
I knew I
Heat.
should have said no to this.
Heat's kind of chasing him in the standings. Again, Heat's sitting at number 5. You have the Jimmy Buckets of the world. Can't wait. How are you feeling about this game tomorrow night at 8 o'clock?
Like any other game, excited. I mean, like to be honest with you, I'm not sitting there I'm not picking a winner or anything. It's Christmas games are interesting in the sense because our guys' minds into it. You know what I mean? Like the home team versus the away team. I mean, being in Miami it's definitely an upper hand. Does this team go down there and party on Christmas Eve with their family, or do something with their family, or do Christmas morning? Well, I mean, they'll be able to do Christmas morning since it's an 8 o'clock game if they bring their families with them. So it'll be interesting to see how it's hard to put these things, knowing how Christmas is for people, being with family, being away from family, especially young guys, maybe the younger players who don't have the money to transport their entire families and everything down to South Beach for a game. But I think this is going to be a hell of a game. It's you got a team in Miami who's sitting in the 5th seed, and the Eagles, the Sixers in the 3rd seed. But it's going to be a fun game.
It's going to be a fun.
It's going to be a great way to relax. Listen, let's talk about it as dads, meaning your dads, and how old is your oldest kid now?
11.
11. All right, my oldest kids are in the 20s, but we know what it's like.
Yes.
Christmas morning, and then you're bopping around the family or whoever it is. By 7 o'clock at night, you're just
Yeah, you're schmoed.
Yeah,
You have desserts in you.
your muscles are fatigued. You
Yeah.
got a
The eyelids are starting to come down a little bit.
yeah, the belly full of whatever going
Cream,
on.
yeah. Oh, ice cream, ice cream.
Ice cream. Thank God Almighty. Um, but this is the best way to wind down.
Yes.
Because and don't forget you got the Eagles game who would probably be
Right
ending
beforehand.
ending
Yeah, this
right
will lead
with
you into it.
yeah, so you're gonna have like an 8-hour stretch of Philly sports,
Oh,
important games against a good team like Miami. I
yeah.
mean, the Sixers just beat the best team in the West on
Yes.
Friday, um, or Thursday. Sorry, Thursday, um, and that says a lot. But again, these Christmas games are a little bit harder to figure out because of how it. If they were the home team, I feel a lot more confident. I'm not saying I'm not confident they couldn't win, but it's gonna be a fun game. I mean, Miami's a good team, but it has some holes in it too. But it is, Jimmy buckets.
Tyler Hero.
These guys who have given this team fits a lot.
Yes.
So, like I said, does it give them a little plus that they're home? I think this is where home field advantage or home court advantage in this case is.
It's going to be on the upper hand.
It definitely gives the upper hand to them. The other, whoever it is. I mean, if they were a lesser team, like the Bulls or even like that,
And you know Jimmy Buckets loves sticking to the Sixers ever since the trade went down.
yeah.
Even though Simmons is no longer here no more, but every time he sees
Well, listen,
Tobias
you're always going to
Harris,
play a little extra, but
yeah.
Jimmy Butler will bring that with him. Let's see. I expect a 31-10 after 41 games. It's very doable.
I think they can handle it.
Yeah,
I think
I think 100% doable.
I think the Sixers could go down and take care of business again.
Yeah,
I think
saying lots of football. Yeah, and don't forget, there's also going to be a key game is that Niners Ravens game going on around right after the Sixers game starts. So my wife is going to be laughing at me because I'll be having the TV and the iPads.
Why not?
Yes, because I'll keep like the Ravens Niners game on the iPad just to keep an eye on it. Again, as a dad, I'm happy it's later. I'm glad it wasn't like a 1 o'clock.
The noon game
or whatever.
And I'm talking about there's some good basketball. Who do you have? I think it's the Bucks. The Bucks and then Yankees. The Bucks and Knicks. So it's going to be Bucks and Knicks at 12, and then there's some other games on there that are not as good. But you have the Sixers and Heat.
Yeah, the Bucks and Knicks, Warriors, Nuggets is another good game. Celtics, Lakers.
I'll watch. That's
and then we're the 8 o'clock game, and then there's a 10:30 game, and then there's a 10:30 game, Mavericks Suns. So
yes, thanks, Insanio. Thanks, buddy. So hey, listen, it's going to be really, really good, interesting matchup. We'll see what the Sixers can do. You're going to need to shoot the lights out in order to put this Miami Heat team away. We know what buckets could bring.
I love when these guys are.
Oh.
He's gonna have one of. He's gonna have like Mama Kelsey has. He's gonna have a jersey. half Sixers, half Niners.
I'm gonna be Beyonce. Jeez. So anyway.
Yeah, you can't put a ring on it.
No, definitely can't. But anyway, like I said, the Sixers are gonna have to shoot the lights out here in order to take this. Again, I gotta see where Nick Batum's at. But you're gonna need another Tobias Harris big game in order to keep up. Again. It's going to be a real fun, interesting matchup against C-Max against Butler. Just those two on the floor, going at it one-on-one, all that fun stuff. You got still. I mean, I know he's an older player. He's but you got Kyle Lowry. Like I said, some old names are still around.
Yeah,
there.
I mean, listen. If you look at Miami's past few games, they all come down to the within a 8-point or less. I'm sorry, no, there's one game that's 10 points, but I'm just saying that they're all a little closer, so they have to play a little harder, and that's the kind of game they play. They try to out hustle you, which has been Jimmy Butler, one of his biggest MOs. I mean, but they lost to the Bulls not that long ago, but then they beat them by 2 the next game.
Yeah.
So
they got
they lost to the Timberwolves. They beat the Magic. They beat the Hawks. And then again tomorrow. So
but again, I don't think they have a big man that can answer to Embiid. Again, the way they're going to have to do, they're going to have to put like triple coverages on Embiid. By then, Maxey becomes a viable option, And if you can keep that momentum going
Well,
with Tobias
that's a big
Harris,
thing. Is Maxey? We've been talking about JoJo this and JoJo that. How great he's been. And yes, listen, it's historical what he's doing.
yeah,
But Tyrese Maxey's right behind him, man. Let me see if I saw a stat. He's about to do something that hasn't happened since Allen Iverson. I'll tell you right now. I have it saved. I don't know what I did with it, but hold on.
yeah, for sure. Though it's going to
Tyrese Maxey is 26.4 points a game. Can become the first Sixers guard to average 25 plus points per game in a season since Allen Iverson in 06-07.
wow.
When you're
Wow.
up there talking about put a young guy like Maxey up there next to AI, it's good company to have.
Yeah, it is. It's very good company. And again, his game is just, I mean, I know it's very young. And I said this in the post game, and I know I'm not talking about the longevity. If you look at longevity, you'll think I'm nuts. But if you look at the skill on the floor, this to me, and like I said, call me crazy.
Oh, you're crazy.
Hello.
Yeah.
But I think this parallel with Embiid and Maxey, it has that Kobe and Shaq dialogue to it. And I know, like I said, people are going to think I'm nuts because you're thinking of two goats.
Well, no.
But if you look at skill set,
you're not saying they are Kobe and they are Shaq. No. But Embiid can be compared to Shaq, close to it. Let's be honest.
He's got that, and again, he's got a little bit better of a shoot. He gets a better shot.
He's more athletic for a big man. Like that's a big difference there. Listen, to say Tyrese Maxey's Kobe Bryant.
It's a stretch.
It's a big stretch, but he's young and he's growing and he's making leaps and bounds every year. Maybe he could be close to the next.
Right, like I said, that's
say that tandem. That could Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid become that in the future? Like our kids are talking about that great tandem, big man and point guard.
Well, this is why. But I think this is why. Again, going back to early in the year, I think the front office, Nick Nurse, I think they all sold this with these two guys. And again, this is why they couldn't let the Green Grinch, be here. They just couldn't let James Harden be here to interrupt this. That's why they, I'll just cast him away for peanuts by now. I don't care. Here, take whatever you want. Just get him off my team. That's how, like I said, this is what goes back to it. And again, look where they're at now. They're playing much better basketball. Again, they're not that consistent three-point shooting team. However, Maxey's become a better three-point shooter. Marcus Morris has become a three-point better shooter. DeAnthony Milton's become a three-point better shooter. Those guys are stepping up. And again, the rebounds that this team is getting, the boards, Kelly Oubre, obviously the big man, Joel Embiid. Again, people are grabbing boards. And I had somebody who covers.
He was it.
I had somebody covering this. I know somebody covers the Suns, and he's just like us. He doesn't really. The only time he gets to see the Sixers is on the big markets of the TNTs and the ESPN. So any national game, he gets to see the Sixers. So he immediately, me and him were talking, and he said Embiid right now, and this is an outsider looking in, is definitely why he's the MVP. And that's coming from outside. We see it because we love the guy, but him seeing the way his style of play is and the way he could do things and all those intangibles is why he's the MVP of the league. But look, I love to talk about Sixers, but we have to talk about the football team. And I have a lot of sores coming off the old Knish about this team. But I got to open up. And Al, I'm not too happy with you and Mr. Nipples over here. Well, whenever he gets back.
It's like, wait a minute. Are you seeing your imaginary friend again?
Hi, Scott. But anyway, you guys last week thought I was crazy when I told you.
You are. Besides what you say, you're crazy.
Yes. I said the Seattle Seahawks were the fourth best team in the NFC.
They are not the fourth best team. All right. I knew you were going to bring this up.
Yes, I know. I have to.
Down right now because you did not win that argument.
Yes, I did.
All the Eagles did was make them look better. They aren't the fourth best team in the NBA or in the NFL. They aren't. They'll barely, if they do, make the playoffs. Let's be honest.
Right.
So how does a team that can barely make the playoffs beat a team? I mean, the better team lost. That's what happened. This team,
no, they're not the better team.
No, this team is in disarray. On paper, the Eagles are a better team. You can't tell me that. But this team.
But this is fool's gold that you loved it. You rushed into, Al. You and this guy here. This guy here, fella. You guys rushed into fool's gold.
Team, and you're telling me I rushed into fool's gold.
It's fool's gold. Look out.
No, this team, I don't know if they got high on the hog or just fooled themselves or whatever you want to
This is
use.
happy horse and manure, and you guys fell in love with it. This is me and Matty B. We're trying to warn you guys.
You and Matty B. You guys get your little boat and row away with that fool.
Listen, it is what it is with this team. Look, after 3 straight losses, look at everything starting to leak out. Fingers are starting to get pointed.
This is what happens when teams get bad, and then I agree. This does not look good. Do I feel uber confident tomorrow? No. But I also don't think this is listen, in a power ranking today, yes, the Eagles are definitely down from 4. But the Seahawks aren't in 4th. And I'm just talking about the NFC.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about overall in the NFL.
Right.
They're not the 4th best
No,
team.
I said in the NFC. I made that clear.
I know, which makes it even dumber.
No, they are the 4th best team.
But listen. At this point,
I'm just going to say, listen.
At this point, I'm on a watch and see mentality with this Eagles team. I'm just being honest with you.
The only thing that made this team not point the fingers and all that stuff is because the W's were there. There's always been issues with the team since game 1. Since game 1, there's been issues. This team is not that good. We rushed in, into happy horse manure. This is what this team is. It's been fake this whole long. And look at the general manager already. He already got in that conversation with Nick Sirianni. We got to strip the guy you picked out. Within a year, he took Sean Desai's duties away from him. It tells you stuff. And then look, that put Brian Johnson on radar. This was one of Brian Johnson's better play callings, I thought. However, I don't think the quarterback was all that good. 2 interceptions. The only time he threw 2 deep balls, were picked.
Let's roll back this because I don't want to get into this.
Yes.
We have a game tomorrow, and we're talking about last week.
And I'm scared about tomorrow.
Listen, what I'm going to say to that is, why are you getting put? Is it Jalen trying to play hero ball? Was it the play calling? Was it a little bit of both? The guy was sick, very sick, and listen, played well considering how sick we heard he was.
Yeah.
But why would you have a guy throw something like that into that moment when you didn't need to?
Well, that's
my point is, if you know a guy doesn't have the arm strength like he normally had because he's not feeling well, it has nothing to do with Jalen can't do it. He just couldn't do it at that time.
Let me ask you a question. Ready? The counterpunch that if he was this sick, right, and he played like he played on Monday, he had a couple nice bombs which got picked off. Again, he had a nice dig and dunk going. Again, he moved the rock pretty well. Again, his legs looked pretty good on Monday. But when the loss came out, we could rely on because he was sick. Well, if he was this sick, why didn't we have did we even have a plan B in play?
Yeah, Marcus Mariota.
What plan are you on? The Seahawks are the 4th best. Yes, in San Diego, they are. To me, they are. I mean, if you go to
they were the home team. The Eagles have a really bad record against.
Haven't beaten them since
Seattle.
08.
Yeah, so I get that. You had a quarterback who's super sick, and they had and listen, yeah, Drew Lock made us look bad, but at the same time, it wasn't Drew Lock didn't beat us because they were more talented than us. The Seahawks team didn't beat us because they're more talented. This team is in disarray.
And
doesn't mean on paper the individual players aren't better players, but they're not playing as a team right now. That is the biggest difference.
And how about another one we
hold on? Steve saying skill position has 0 depth. 2017 Blunt, Clement, Sproles, Selleck, Nelly, Burton. 2023 Gainwell, Quez, Oz, Stoll, Calcaterra. No comparison. We are top heavy. This is true, Steve. It's a very good point. But at the same time, I'm going to push back on that a little bit. Why aren't we using more guys like why isn't Oz getting a little bit more involved? Why isn't Julio Jones getting a little bit more involved? Why isn't Rashad Penny seeing the light of day? Why is it we'll probably see Boston Scott this week? Why? Because they're playing the Giants. You only bring a guy in and pay him $1 million to play 2 games.
And how about talking about rushing and fool's gold? How about this guy, Sidney Brown? Sidney, I can't make a stop Brown. He couldn't stop Kenny Walker.
Wait. He didn't have a perfect game, but he didn't have a bad game either. Let's just throw this out there.
He did have a bad game.
Brown bashing. He is. Listen.
Who did he stop?
A lot of guys, but they just whiffed at the same time. He needs to learn control. Again, I blame the coaches on this one.
I saw better tackling than Little Giants.
We get to wait this week to see Eli Ricks start. You had to wait to see who else was the why am I completely blanking out? Who was the other corner? I know Bradbury was.
Yeah,
Trying to think whoever.
Slay.
No, he didn't play.
No. I'm just saying he's.
Why am I completely blanking out? But whatever. My point is, these young guys haven't got any time. Now you force them into a situation where they're starting and playing more. They should have been kind of peppered in throughout the year, and they didn't.
Yes.
That's where I blame the coaching. You got a deeper running back room. Rashad Penny can't touch the grass. Gainwell, obviously they're not 100% sold on him, which I'm not either.
No.
Boston Scott doesn't get anything outside of special teams. So yeah, you're running DeAndre Swift the entire time. You're not changing up the look. You're not changing up the style of player. That is a problem. The O
That is a
line is
problem.
having some injuries. They say maybe the best O line in the NFL, which at its best it is. It is, but it has not been. The wide receiver, again, the play calling, or is it Jalen? I don't know. But we're always.
Does he fit the
Why
bill
would
to
you
you?
put wide receivers on the field outside of Smith and AJ Brown? It ain't going
Right.
anywhere else. If I'm a defensive coordinator, I'm not caring less about covering those knuckleheads.
You're right.
I'm just going to worry about these guys. So again, I'm not usually a coach blamer, maybe because I'm a coach, but at the same time, if I'm not putting my team in the right positions to do so, then yeah, it's a problem.
So again, Al, going back to Jalen Hurts.
Oh, here we go, Matty B. You know what? I was about to say something nice about him.
Matty B, there's my man.
About to say something.
Merry Christmas, Matty B.
He said Merry excuses, everyone.
But again, Al, you look at this team.
Keely Ringo. Thank you, Michael.
Thanks. Here goes. You look at the team, right? How many times did Jalen Hurts and Goddard look like they weren't communicating out there? Overthrown balls, throws out of the someone's hands. Again, you just said AJ Brown, Devontae Smith looked like the only two his way out of trouble. Look, if he couldn't do that, he had to run. And like Fred Barnett said with Chet Chesko, and by the way, Chet, if you're listening to this, great interview. He said himself, Jalen takes forever to release the rock. He takes forever to release the rock.
That has been a complaint of mine all year long. Like the RPOs are slower, even when they were running them, were slower to evolve. All the play calling takes forever to evolve. That's why the bubble screens haven't worked. It's supposed to be bang bang.
Yes.
It's not supposed to be turn, look, throw at the guy, get your feet set and run. Like by then you're already seconds behind, and in the speed of football, you might be an hour behind.
Yeah, and like I said, it's just I don't see how. Again, this is just bad. This is again, if you're having locker room issues and all these other things going on. I mean, and so what? If you mop up the Giants today, 2 weeks, you mop up the Cardinals, it doesn't mean nothing because you're supposed to get it helps your playoff seeding. Great. But to me and to the rest of the fans, you had 3 teams that you faced 3 weeks in a row, and you did nothing with them, with contenders. You did nothing with the Niners. Niners came in here and peed on our carpet and walked out with a cheesesteak. We went down into Dallas looking to come back.
Has somebody done that to you? I feel like that's been happened to you. Like it was way too specific for just to be made up. I feel like this has happened to you quite a few times.
Yes, it's called a dog. Dog pees on my carpet and walks out. No,
with
then
cheesesteak.
Yeah. So on top of that, you went into Dallas looking to come back off the canvas. It couldn't do that. It got mopped. Because Dak was waiting for some revenge. And then on top of this Monday, where you look like you had everything going for you, and then fell apart. The defense has left that over the field middle wide open. And look, Seattle was no better over the middle. Like you could have done whatever you wanted. But my point is, like, it all goes bad. It's at some point we talked about the Phillies and how someone steps up. We talked about the Flyers now, someone stepping up. We're talking about how great the Sixers are because someone's stepping up. The Eagles have nobody stepping in the field. They've learned how to shut down AJ Brown. They've learned to cover him.
Well, listen, let's talk about that. And Steve's kind of echoing what I just said. If I'm the defense, I'm never covering the 4th or 5th options until they make me, like never swinging at a Hector Neris pitch until he puts it over the plate.
Yes.
I agree with you. Why would you do that? So what are you doing? You're double teaming AJ Brown. You're not getting those one-on-one situations. You're not giving Devontae Smith any open field, and you're trying, and listen, you see them, he's smaller. They're trying to knock his damn head off. And you're putting those guys in danger by doing that. Is AJ Brown, people have been kind of calling him a malcontent because of his blaming him for leaking things out. Maybe it is him. Maybe maybe it's on AJ as the quarterback to go, or AJ on Jalen as the quarterback to go to. Hey AJ, shut the f up.
Yeah.
Shut
Again,
up. You got a problem. My door's right here. Come talk to me.
right, and you've seen it. Those two had their arguments, right? It goes back to week 2, those 2 having arguments. And now things are starting to leak out. Again, after 3 losses in a row, things are starting to get really, really leaked out from that locker room. It's not looking good. That's why I said this team has been.
Listen, I'm not saying it's looking good at all. That's why I said I'm in a watch and see mentality right now. I will wear my Eagles jersey tomorrow.
Oh,
I will be
same.
excited to watch the game. I know it's the Giants. I know they're not a good team. I'm hoping for a walloping. I know the Eagles are missing a couple of key players as well. I'm hoping for a walloping though to see if this team could use that to kind of like the Nick Sealer situation in last night's
Flyers
Friday
game.
night's Flyers game. I don't know, and that's what I'm saying. I'm hoping this team, and that's all we can do is hope that this team finds their way and can make a playoff run. But I know I'm going to get to it in a minute, second. I'm sure Matty B has. I see a comment. I haven't read it yet, but I see a comment, and I'm sure he's going to tell me this has been happening all year long. And maybe it has. Maybe the breadcrumbs have been smaller until recently. But my point is, I can't. The team on paper is talented. It's the team. Can they
Shoot
bring it all?
themselves in the
Can
foot?
they bring themselves together, be a team again, and and if these coordinators make
Well, that's
something out of nothing, especially on the defensive
well,
side?
that's why like, again, it goes back to the title, right? Is Jalen Hurts the right fit for this, for the playbook? For Brian Johnson's playbook, is he the right fit for it? I mean, of course, when we're winning, it all is good, but then again, like I said, those were dogfights. And again, this is a divisional game. This is going to be a dogfight. Again, we didn't see Giants last week.
Giants are playing with house money.
They got smoked last week in New Orleans. The Saints crushed them. They only put 6 points, but I watched Tommy DeVito, not Danny DeVito. I watched Tommy DeVito.
I would have rather watched Danny DeVito.
The Twins, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, my man's got a quick release. He's mobile. This team can't stop anybody who's mobile's got a quick release. He's not going to sit all day in the pocket. Jalen needs to find himself again. And I feel like his security blanket is AJ Brown. Without AJ Brown, he doesn't know where to go.
Matty B said it's all started week 1. People were
Yes.
making internal excuses about this team to justify feeling good about them. They were never as good as we thought they were.
I just alluded to this.
Hold on, and I'm not going to push back on this one. Maybe they weren't as good as we thought they were. But when a team's 10-1, I'm sorry, it's hard, and they're winning, and they're winning in some heroic fashions. You gotta, I'm not out on a team for being 10-1. But again, this team isn't as bad as some people put out there from a talent standpoint. Is it an organizational standpoint? That's where I'm starting to wonder a little bit. Angry Ant's bringing the next comment in here saying Brian Johnson is no more than a high school coach. Desai is no more than a special teams coach or water boy. It feels like this team has bipolar, and even coaches have different personalities. Where I will agree and disagree in some parts of this part. I wonder, this is kind of my conspiracy theory, and I'm sure Matty B will have something to say about it in a moment. But people talk about, oh, well, Brian Johnson knows Jalen. That's his godfather, right, or something like that.
Yeah, something weird.
He's known him since he was a kid. He's coached him.
Great story.
Yeah, but maybe that's a problem. Maybe that's the problem with that. Maybe there's a disconnect. And Jalen didn't know how to say it to Brian. Brian didn't know how to say it to Jalen. Nick Sirianni didn't know how to portray it. I don't know. There is sometimes, because people talked about when AJ Brown came here. Oh, they're good friends. They work out together. Jalen's the godfather to AJ's kid, and blah blah blah. All this stuff, and we're seeing maybe that's not always the best thing because they, But I got friends that I know if I'm doing something stupid or wrong, they'll be the first ones to grab me by the shirt and go, "Yo, moron!
Yeah,
You're doing something stupid and wrong, and you need to fix it." So that's there's that plus minus with it. Listen, Sean Desai. I would have hoped he would have with some of the deficiencies on defense. I would have hoped he would have did a little more disguising, a little bit more, movement on the line, things like that. You see all that. You see the Niners do it all the time. I mean, even the offense, I said that. Like you saw some motioning. Oh my God! Like what a thought process to do that in there. Like that, the calling has been vanilla on both sides.
Yes. So to me, here goes the thing, right? So when you look at this game, right, against the Eagles in Seattle, The Eagles' defense held Seattle to only 3 points in that first half. However, the Eagles on the opposite side of the ball can only went down there twice and only got 10 points out the deal. They're not great in the red zone. Again, I don't know how many times Joe Buck,
That's been a whole year thing.
allude to on the commentary. This team sucks on third down defensively. This team sucks, and it's true. Like I'm like, oh man, this is just Joe Buck just being Joe Buck. But no, I mean, you watch that game. I mean, came third down, you could do whatever you want with the birds. Here goes my man,
Sounds like
Matty
a
B.
Wednesday night to you.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Matty B saying there's 0 leaders on his team, and in a weak head coach, it's not about looks; it's about they are not good.
I want to bring that up too.
I'm saying that individually, players are talented. If the glue that keeps those players together and puts them in the chess pieces on the board correctly, yeah, that could be a problem. And like I said, I usually don't blame coaching, but listen, if a business is failing miserably, like if it was a thriving business, like say Amazon is a thriving business, right? And somehow that business falls apart and it's starting to like sell off pieces and not look good. Yeah, you're gonna look at the top down. You're gonna have to start making decisions at the top down. So yeah, Nick Sirianni's gonna be called into question. Desai and I still is he still the defensive coordinator by title?
I don't.
I would love to know how that works out.
Listen, I don't know what he is. I just know is anytime you get demoted from a job, you get right in the press box. I mean, look at Big Dom. My man's head security. My man can't even touch the field, but he goes up in the press and neat. But anyway, getting back to this though, I mean, this is why I said you guys rushed in this. This is a falling for fool's gold because to me, I feel like there's
fool's gold. 10-1 is not fool's gold. I'm sorry.
It is fool's gold though because again. They only had 3 convincing wins this year.
Listen, I am not about style points, and I'm going to throw this at you and Matty B and everybody else in the world. There has been plenty of times teams have been really good and put up some great games and beat people by 20 and 30 points and then got walloped the first game of the playoffs.
Yeah.
And there's other times around that teams have not looked good and they find good team. The old saying is good teams find the way to win. And that's what the Eagles were doing despite their deficiencies. But the deficiencies have caught up with them.
Yeah.
And that is the major difference here. To sit there and say that this team has been bad all year long, I'm not saying they were great, but bad is not a term I would use for a 10-1 team. Sorry, can't do it. Maybe a couple of puck luck games came their way. The Washington games come down to the wire, but there's plenty of games that come down the wires that mean that how many Super Bowl teams have won coming down to the wire. It's not always about style points. Would it make us feel better and more warm inside and have our blankies around us because the team they won by like 30 points today? Yeah, it would be. But also at the same time can make a team feel a little bit more sure of themselves than they should. And that's when you have letdown games.
Yeah, but
look at hold on one second. Look at the teams that blown teams out. The Dallas Cowboys and the Miami Dolphins, right? Teams that have just put points, like record points up on people. They haven't beat one team that's been good. This season, NFL altogether, the teams, it's a lot of parity in this league, and it's a lot of grind them out games. So for somebody to say this team is bad, this team's in a bad situation right now. Don't get me wrong, but on paper they are still a very talented team with some injuries and some mistakes and some leadership issues. And Mike's sitting here saying Kelsey and Cox and Graham, all captains, Johnson, all need to step up and put Brown in his place. Well, they can't go there like tie him down and beat him with bars of soaps and socks.
That's my kind of dream.
But they need to like call a team-only meeting maybe and sit there and say, listen, guys, if there's something that needs to be said, here it is. You have the opportunity to say whatever you want about whoever you want, and we're going to move forward about it.
Yeah, but Al, if you do that, again, that's going to be your second meeting? There's something going on there. Again, Al, they only had 3 convincing wins this whole year.
And I'm not disagreeing the fact that there's a problem somewhere internally.
Yeah, like I said,
totally clear.
So my point is, look, they only had 3 convincing wins, right? They beat the Bucs 25-11. They beat the Jets 31-17, and they beat the Rams. But you look at the schedule in front of you, all up to
we didn't beat the Jets.
No, not the Jets. I'm sorry. I said the Rams, Bucs, and Dolphins.
Okay.
Those are convincing wins. Other than that, it's been a dogfight up to this point, and the teams that you beat are not even a playoff contender. And we can sit there and laugh at the Cowboys saying that, "Oh, who they beaten?" They beat the brakes off of us, though. They beat the brakes off
They
of
beat
us,
off a
and
brakes
we're
off.
supposed to be the
Listen, they
good
beat off a
team.
brakes of a bad team at that moment. Did they not? If the Eagles weren't having these internal issues, just with the talent that's on the team now, do you think it's that close of? It's not much of a closer game.
No, I mean, again, it goes back to
Listen, Dallas is a good goddamn team. Let's just throw it for what it is. I hate saying those words, but they
I
are.
know.
They have talent on the team, but they also have internal issues as well, as you can see. You know, guys who come up short in big times, big moments. Jalen Hurts is regressed in some ways. I'm not saying he's never going to get back to it, but he's in a slump, just like a pitcher gets into a slump. Okay, he got injuries across the board in some areas. You got guys who aren't jiving with other guys or their coaches. I'm not disagreeing that this team is bad right now, but this isn't a bad
So
team. Meaning a bad team. I'm talking bad team. I'm talking the Bears.
Right.
I'm,
Oh, we're not in that kind of hell, not yet.
I'm talking. I am talking bad teams.
No,
Okay?
right.
We are not. You know, even looking at teams that have gotten, you know, some resurgence like the Raiders. Still not a great team.
No, but let me ask you. So again, do you feel like the Niners exposed this team from 3 weeks ago? Kind of to the point that this team doesn't know how to answer?
I think they exposed that there's glaring disconnects somewhere. I don't think they exposed the team to being a bad team. I think they exposed the team that they have some bad issues going on.
And then, like I said, I thought they would go back into Dallas and make things all hunky dory. And no, in Jerry's world, they put the bet 33-13. It's just so to me, it's mind boggling. Again, we like the and this is the point that kind of bothered me on social media. I'm watching all the Eagle fans laugh and giggle because the Cowboys lost to the Bills.
Listen, and I'm sure Jerry went on the radio.
Oh yeah,
after the Eagles lost to Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that kind of stuff.
So I mean, who are we to laugh at anybody right now?
Well, listen, it's just typical, whatever.
Yeah, right, it's trash talk.
But Steve saying confirmation by his staff. They all seem too close to be having the same exact thought process and doing Jalen catering instead of developing. That could be a problem too. It's going to end up as the 7-game losing streak at the end of the season, channeling all those 1994 vibes. Then we all shall see the excuse fest.
So we're going back 30 years.
Again, I'm going to ask you guys.
The Northeast crew?
No, it's not even just you. In general, like, do you think, like, if I went through, like, player by player, which I'm not going to do.
No.
But if I went through player by player on the offense for the most part, let's start with that. Would you say, that these guys are bad players in their position? They're not good key players in their position? I mean,
on offense?
There's not too many.
Not too many. When you look at
Dallas Goedert's a top tier tight end.
Yes.
AJ Brown, Devontae Smith when they're on their game, great.
So
the O line, Jalen Hurts is not a bad quarterback. That's what I'm saying. He's not a bad quarterback. He's having a slump. He's having some mental block, just like a writer gets when Stephen King got writer blocks, but he still wrote thousands of books.
So let me ask you: is it the playbook not fitting the players, or the playbook not fitting, or the other way around?
And also, I'll push back on Matty B here on another thing. This won't be the excuse fest 2024 because I'll tell you right now, everybody is already off this team. A lot of people are off this team already.
I would be surprised if you get a decent crowd tomorrow.
But my thing is, why not rally around? No, we'll get this. It's the Eagles. It's Christmas. This is probably presents for a lot of people.
Good.
Different things like that. My point is, the team is still 10-4, right? The team is still going to the playoffs. The team is not devoid of talent in some areas. It is devoid of maybe some maturation, we'll say, and some talent on the defense. Is the coaching in question? Absolutely. Is Jalen Hurts' mental framework right now in question? Absolutely. But with that being said, is we rallied around a really good shortstop when he was struggling for most of the year.
Good point.
About 3/4 of the year. And look what happened.
He turned his life around.
I'm not saying we have to go there and do a standing ovation or anything like that. But to sit here and write this team off, call them bad, call them out this, they're not good, blah, blah, blah. This is just reactionary BS. Over time, we'll tell you that. And my point is, why not, instead of going out, they're going to go 10-7, which they could. Don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
They could. But why not rally around this team? Why not give them a fighting chance? Because guess what? What does 10-7 do? Make guys like you and Matty B right?
Yes.
Does
Yes.
that make you feel better?
Yes.
Is that as good as watching a parade go down Broad
No,
Street?
but
No.
we
But my point is, this team isn't as bad as everybody puts it out there to be. And I get being frustrated with the team. We're all frustrated with this team. That's why I'm going into the Giants game tomorrow with a wait and see mentality. Did they do enough? I'm not sitting there saying they're going to fix everything from last week to this week. I'm not crazy, but you know, did they figure out some defensive changes that could add in some holes or fix some holes or make things a little bit more stable? Is the play calling changing, making the defense get a little bit more sure of themselves? Is the OC looking at himself and making decisions and Nick Sirianni in their decision making process? Is Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown going out to dinner and say, "Listen, man, we got to chat, man. What is going on?" You know,
yeah.
and listen, be a leader. We got Zacchaeus. We got Julio. We got all these guys out there that don't touch the ball. I mean, Julio Jones has been here for how long? He's had 5 touches, 6 touches.
Wow.
Whoop de do.
Yeah.
I mean, and why can't we get these other guys? This is the kind of stuff. They might not change everything tomorrow, but if they can make some strides against a bad team, that can go a long way. Just like I said, like the Nick Sealer fight, they can spark a team being down 5-1. Maybe whatever they did this week, not just practice but off the field, could make a difference.
Well, that's hell. This is what again. And here goes another thing. Let me ask you: we all are now obviously not fans of Brian Johnson up to this point, but however, my man has been getting the piano treatment. He's been. How come is it when the Eagles are playing well, he doesn't get the roses? It goes right to Nick Sirianni. How come Nick
I don't think they.
Sirianni isn't getting no criticism
No,
right now?
I think honestly, I disagree with that. I think when things are going good, Jalen Hurts is getting it despite Brian Johnson's
Right.
play calling. Um, but at the same time, I don't. I mean, I think Nick Sirianni doesn't get. I think he's kind of in the middle, like, and doesn't get a lot of love, even nationally as well as locally. I think Nick Sirianni, people like him because he's been winning. I mean,
Right. It's going to be
winning
his
makes every
third
yeah.
year in a row making the playoffs. The first ever Eagles head coach to do that. But here goes. So if Eagle fans want to feel good about themselves for tomorrow, I got some notes on the Giants. Giants have not won a game here in South Philly since 2013, 10 years ago. So you have that going for you. The Eagles are 16 out of 19 meetings against the Giants. Yeah, the Giants only have 2 wins on the road so far. So again, if you want to look for revenge, but I'm not going to say. I think every Eagle fan now is precautious. Precautious against they're playing against a bad Giants team, but we all know it's a divisional game. Anything can happen. This kid, Tommy DeVito, just got walled by the Saints, thinking the Eagles could probably do the same. Pump your brakes because we don't know what Eagles team we're going to get. We're
Well,
going to get
that's the key thing. Is like maybe the plus in this situation is they know they haven't been good lately, and they're not going to look past any team. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
That could be it. Anthony Angry Ant saying Hurts is a good quarterback, but he's limited even when he was at Bama and Oklahoma because the talent is there and loyalty, but leadership skills was never there. You see all the other QBs look at the tablet and see what they're doing wrong to fix it. Jalen doesn't even try to look at the tablet and fix it. Um, I don't know that. We're not watching the camera all the time on him. I don't think he's not trying to fix it. I mean, we were all sitting there pounding our chest of how wonderful it was. He was out in the offseason after losing in the Super Bowl and working with people to get better in certain areas.
Listen, look again. We're getting on Bell's flaws from again. We can only react to what we saw Monday in the past few weeks, but there has been games. And look at the flip side of the coin where he has put this game on his shoulders. Right, there was I think it was against the Chiefs. Don't quote me on it. I think it was against the Chiefs or the Dolphins where he literally put the game on his back and won. So, but I just start to Matty B's point. I'm starting to think that Father Time is starting to catch up with the guys up front.
Well, listen, that could be absolutely true in some cases. Maybe saying maybe Kelsey can use his podcast to be a leader. He's a Hall of Fame player, but no leader.
Woo, Matty
I think he's a
B.
leader. But Matty B, I think me and Joe talked about him.
Is EUP giving me and Matty B coal in our stockings this year?
Guys are giant lumps of coal. Um,
Okay.
but It's funny we talked about this because we said if we went back in time 10 years ago and I said a player currently playing has a podcast. I mean, Darius Slay has a podcast. Remember who
Yes.
got him in a lot of heat because people were
Yes.
sitting there defending himself and when the team was looking bad. Pat Bev has a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these players have podcasts because they're looking towards their future, and I get it, but I don't agree with it either. I really don't. It's a distraction.
Yes.
I mean, especially with Kelsey and them. I mean, it's one of the top podcasts in the world, and it's
Well, that's again. You're talking about now that you saw they've done the laundry advertisement, endorsement. Like they're. It seems like there's playing time when there should
I
be
love you, Mike.
breakdown time. This is just it's like I said, it's bad all around. The coach needs to answer for this. Like I said, I'm kind of scared because, like I said, when I looked at Tommy DeVito, he has a quick release. He's mobile. That's what scares me. I mean, he could release the ball within 2 seconds. And with our quarterback, he's he's predictable where he wants to go with the rock.
All right, well here you go. Matty B's pushing back on me, calling it in a slump, and he's comparing it to the Wentz situation. The Wentz situation was a little different. The Wentz is a
Whoa.
personality problem, and I didn't see it right away either. I was a big Wentz supporter.
Same.
And I think he has. And the funny thing is, I still think he has the talent to be.
Yeah.
But he talk about a guy who was unwilling to make changes, unwilling to see what's wrong with himself. That was Carson Wentz, and then that's where he lost the locker room. I still don't think Jalen. We all pounded our chest about the intangibles in 2021.
Well, I still think the front office played mind games with Carson's head.
Well, I think Carson plays mind games with himself. He knew he was coming from a lesser division in college football, and any competition coming in behind him, people lived rent free.
Well,
Carson had like a hotel of rent free people living in there, and I think he was one of his own tenants. He lived in his own head. Well, I don't think Jalen Hurts is like that. I think Jalen Hurts had he had some, not the greatest year so far, but when it came down to needing a game-winning drive, he put it together up until recently.
Right.
I mean, even in San Fran, the game against San Fran, they put 2 good drives together, but came up short.
Well, again, it's one of them are going to have to give, and I don't think it's going to be Jalen. The play calling, someone needs to make a change at the OC, or you're going to have to make a change at the quarterback position. And I don't think that's going to happen no time soon. And I get it. Look,
hold on. And I'm going to ask this to everybody. Anthony is saying the problem is Hurts constantly getting a free pass. I don't think he's getting a free pass. I think
he's been getting criticized this whole
maybe
week.
As of recently, he's been getting it more than ever. My thing is, everybody wants to make changes. I still think, I'm not saying Sean Desai should have been changed, unless there was we don't know what the internal problems were. We're not in the locker room. Maybe there was a bigger problem. And Sean Desai was being like, I'm not changing. It's not me. It's not my fault. These guys suck.
Mm-hmm.
I think they go, whoa, we can't have that. Sorry, Sean, but you're going to be moved.
That's what again.
But hold on, hear me out. What I'm saying is, if we keep making snap changes and don't let things progress in anything in life, I mean, I'd be married 97 times.
Yes.
My wife would have divorced me 172 times.
Yes.
Because of not allowing things to be fixed, to be worked out, or matured, or understand that some people have down days. I mean, if we went by with the way you and Matty B think, nobody would have a job for more than a couple days.
Exactly.
I mean, that would be it. And then now Philadelphia becomes an wanted destination. Because why would I want to go there? Unless that defense is perfect, I don't want to go be a defensive coordinator there. Unless that offense is perfect, I don't want to be an OC there. Because they're going to fire me in a week.
Yes.
No, I'm not sitting there saying they didn't give Sean Desai enough time. That's not what I'm talking about. I don't know. I'm not in the locker room. I don't know the whole story there. But to sit here and say Jalen sucks, get him out. AJ Brown's a malcontent, get him out. I mean, seriously, like parents have kids who become anybody who has a kid who's becoming a teenager or has a kid who was a teenager and you live through it. Man, would you love to put your kids through a wall a couple times?
Oh yeah. Well,
but with that being said, that is what's going on here, and I get it. These guys are rich guys playing a kid's game, making a lot of money. It's a little different with that scenario. But to make snap decisions and just all right, burn it all down, guys.
Yeah.
I mean, is that what we want? Is that what we want? Do we not want to give this team a chance who is in the playoffs, who could get a chance over the next 3 weeks to make some things better and maybe put a little bit of a run together. I don't know. And then we could really see where the problems are too. I mean, if you want to look at anything, like maybe we don't get that Super Bowl win we want, of
So
course, but maybe we get to see where the glaring problems are and we can move on from them in the offseason. You're not going to sit there and bring a new QB in or a new OC in that's going to make a world of a difference. You're not going to bring in a new cornerback that's going to make a world of a difference.
no,
These are my things. Like, we all make snap decisions as Eagles fans, which is what we do.
right?
But at the same time, it's like all we want to do is be negative, but we don't have a solution to the problem. But sometimes the solution's there. We got to work out the problem. Your
Right.
car, if it starts sputtering, do you just throw it out and go buy a new one?
Heck no, I
No,
don't
you
have the
take it to the
money.
mechanic and get it freaking fixed.
Yeah. But Al, like I said, so I'm going to go with your point, right? We've reached 10 wins, right? We've reached there. Survive, feel good, all that. But after 3 losses to 3 good quality teams in the NFC, like I said, the last game you lost by shooting yourself in the foot. I mean that again, but it sounds like the same deficiency problems. And like I said, I feel like this whole year has been deficiency problems. But what brought you out, what led you to this point is because the W's got you out of this problem. And here goes another thing I said. Here it goes. I forgot the homers checked in the 700 level, green goggle, no pants dance. No, I hope Mike's getting better. But hey, listen, well, that's only for me and him to talk. No, but listen, I feel like the Eagles front office has already. I feel like Howie has made the panic button push. Right again, 3 losses and already after the second loss, push the panic button. Give me someone show on the side of his play calling duties. Bring me Matt Patricia. Let's give that a whirl. Let's see what works. Here,
All right, hold on.
hold on.
Matty's pushing back. He says the shortstop disappeared in the playoffs. He did a little
Woohoo.
bit later in the playoffs, but so did Bryce Harper. So did Nick
Yeah,
Castellanos.
Alec Bohm. Don't forget about him.
Oh, well, are we just going to get rid of them all? Or are you
No.
going to see what you can get out of them? Like, that's my problem. Like, are we always going to go to this burn it down?
But the Eagles put them there.
Cut my nose off to spite my face.
The Eagles put themselves there, Al. The Eagles put themselves there. They won the NFC last year, right?
Yeah.
They put themselves
And they can still win the NFC East this year.
They put themselves in this position, right? They put them there. Howie has put so much pressure on himself. Again, you stripped away your defensive coordinator from his duties. You put someone else in there. He's panicked. He thinks this is gonna make Brian Johnson a better OC. I don't know. If the play calling ain't better, trust me, within a couple weeks, he's gonna get replaced from his duties.
Probably. If he can get it better. But again, at least you gave a chance to develop. Like I said, I know we've had the whole season for the offensive to develop. But maybe that's why the problem's there. Then if the OC's the problem, then why did you not make a change there? Because of the closeness of Jalen?
No, because the W's has bailed you out. Once you got the 10 W's, that's what bailed you. But there's been problems since game 1.
Undefeated, you guys will find something wrong with it to fire somebody. That's the problem there.
No, I mean, and
wins don't. Yes, of course, wins bail you out.
No, but look,
like Matty P has said, we've all said, what gets you in the playoffs? What gets you in the Super Bowl are W's, not 300-yard running back games or 500-yard wide receiver games.
Look at the nail. Look around Philadelphia. What are we pumped up and talking about? We just talked about before we got talking to the Eagles. We talked Flyers. We talked Sixers. How those teams are making us feel really good. We're talking to the Eagles, and it's costing us headaches. How many times
have we talked about the Sixers, and they lost, and they made us feel really good,
and
then they shat the bed in the second round. Okay, the Flyers have been horrible.
Yes.
Just plain out not good. And now they're playing with grit that we like to see.
Now they're
grinding out games. They're coming down to games that they should have lost and either coming back and winning or at least getting a point out of the deal. The Eagles did that all season long, and everybody wants to shit on them for it. I can't get this.
Because they won the NFC last year.
Okay. And how many times?
They are the measuring stick.
Look at the record. How many times teams go to the Super Bowl and lose, and they come back, or even win sometimes, and they come back the next year, and they lose their main pieces and their OC and their DC, and they got to make all these changes, and guess what? They're like 4 or 5 win teams. This team has already bucked the trend.
Belichick never went through that problem.
I'm not here for moral victories at all. I'm here to win.
Right.
I'm here. I'm looking at that. Look at Atlanta. Atlanta went to the Super Bowl. Should have been Tom Brady. Tom Brady came back in a historical way, and they were never right afterwards. They were never right afterwards. This team is having some issues that can be fixed.
Yes.
Maybe this year, maybe next year, maybe the year. I don't know. But to sit here and burn it all down makes zero sense.
Listen. This is where the fans are at now. This is what the Eagles team is.
We're hurt.
The locker room's like this now, Al.
Just
the locker room is
like
poor
if
now.
your girlfriend just didn't do something right by you, cheated on you, whatever. Yeah, you're gonna go key up her car and burn her apartment down.
Yes,
I get it. We're angry.
Yes,
but at the same time, to sit here and say that it was this way the whole time, to say that the relationship was never good the whole time, maybe at the end it was bad.
It's been a fake marriage. It's been a fake marriage. It's been there for the people.
We were all enjoying, even the
fake smiles.
Even the Pats and the Matty B's of the world were enjoying their time when they were 10-1. I did post games with them when they were still doing good. And Matty B, he goes, yeah, despite these deficiencies, they won today. They're 8-1. They're 9-1. They're 10-1. They beat the Chiefs. They beat the Bills.
They've been exposed now. This team has been exposed.
I'm not sitting there saying that their deficiencies haven't become glaring.
Wow, Matty B.
Bench that.
He's got a point.
Yeah, but here's the thing: is if you're listen, I'll take the Jalen Hurts or the Carson Wentz situation. I still think the Eagles did him wrong in some ways.
Yes.
At the end, when they benched him, when you're supposed to bench a guy, you're supposed to give him a chance. He had no chance. He moved on to another team, and did better there because he. Just like any other one, if you're a player in any position in the NFL, if you're not going to get a fair shake, why wouldn't you want to move on?
The minute they brought that trophy in of Nick Foles,
did he sit there and go, "Screw you, Alabama," throwing his fingers in the air?
No.
Did he? No. He moved on. Alabama had their guy. He knew he wasn't the guy anymore. He wanted to try to do it somewhere else. Who blames anybody for that? If your job is not treating you right and is giving guys bonuses and raises and better positions, even though you're a better worker, you're there all the time, blah, 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 whatever it is, how you feel about your position and your work, do you not go look for another job?
Right.
Why? That's not a leader thing. That's just what he's doing best for him. And sometimes you got to do what's best for you. And it was best for you. It was best for Alabama. You know how many times have we said it was best for both sides? They got a fresh guy here. This guy got a fresh start there. So to me, that's not an answer. That's not an excuse.
No. So, anyways, but look, it's Christmas Eve. Our blood pressures are flaring. It's getting up there. I want to say thank you to everyone who's checked into the show. I hope everyone has a great Merry Christmas. Again, from PM to AM, from all of Edge of Philly Sports, I want to say thank you so much. Go Birds.
Well, real quick, guys, I want to remind you that this show is brought to you by CherryInjuryLaw.com. That's right. David R. Cherry is the man with the plan. Listen, traffic's crazy around Christmas time. Motor vehicle accidents occur, personal injuries occur. If you get hurt at work, criminal law, he is the man with the plan to fight for your rights. 610-565-0300 at CherryInjuryLaw.com. Again, 610-565-0300. And like Pat said, guys, Merry Christmas. You know, celebrate Christmas, Merry, whatever it is you're celebrating, and just enjoy the time. You know what, guys? For your sanity, take the game go in there with a blank slate. Don't go in there, man. Nick Sirianni's going to screw something up. Jalen Hurts. It could happen. Don't get me wrong. I'm not sitting there saying it's going to be a perfect game in any which way. It could. It couldn't be. It could be a crap. They could lose. And we're going to all want to burn it down.
Mm-hmm.
Believe me, I've wanted to burn it down a couple times. But sometimes you got to step back. You got to look at the now. You got to look at the short run. And you got to look at the long run.
I just hope, like I said, they win. All right. Take care of the Giants. Make us a believer again. Don't just beat them by a nose hair.
There's still been plenty of people.
Beat the brakes off them.
But again, I want them to beat the brakes off of them. But I don't expect this team again to be 100% like they were in the beginning of the season come Monday or Tuesday because the game will be over. But make strides. You got to win and make strides.
Well,
get better. That's the only way.
Again, we saw with the Sixers, right? Once they played against these horrible teams, they start to work on things. I just want to see. Same to you, Mike. Again, take care of business. Get these wins. Get that number 1 seed, and then go from there. Buy some time to rest up and prepare and do heavy.
Listen, the number
studying.
1 seed is going to be a bit of a stretch unless the Niners fall off They see. You have to understand. They gotta lose 2. That's gonna be hard. Now
We got the easier schedule between them, the Cowboys and
possibly the
Niners.
Ravens could give them a loss, and they have that Rams that are looking to make the playoffs, and it's a divisional game.
Yeah.
And then God knows how it plays out. I'm not saying it's impossible.
Control your
But
destiny.
right now, win the NFC East. Go get that second spot. Go from there.
Yeah.
But like I said, one game at a time. Things can get better. To sit here and burn it all down and say it's been shit since the beginning is just. I mean, don't ever go to a job, don't get in a relationship, and don't have children if that's the way you're going to feel about things in life.
You hear me, little guy? But anyway, everyone have a good Christmas.
Hold on. Anthony's saying you need a haircut.
Thanks, Anthony. You want to do it for me, bud?
Enjoy your holiday, everyone. Our presents are coming January, February, and June. There you go.
Are we getting a green February? I wasn't sure. But anyway, guys, enjoy all of the action tomorrow. Again, stay here, 11 o'clock. In case all you lacrosse heads are just checking out the program today, Gary, Sean, and Mike got you covered. Coming up in just about 15 minutes. All right, guys, we're out.